Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me once again today. My name is General Confusion, as always, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. We're starting off pause, because you can see there is some hot stuff kicking off over there. We're playing Skaven versus Beastmen, and once again, I am bringing the Stormvermin. Yes, the warriors of Ratkind, really going to do us proud here today. This is another one of those matchups where I think that Stormvermin with Sword and Shield can be really solid. They're just good at not dying. And that's what Skaven want out of their infantry. I mean, Stormvermin can also mulch through very cheap chaff. Against units like Gore Herds, they won't really accomplish that. I mean, Gore Herds have pretty decent melee stats, high charge bonus, high weapon strength, some okay armor piercing, so they will hurt Stormvermin. And especially, of course, things like Minotaurs really hurt Stormvermin with that super high armor piercing damage. But Stormvermin just don't die quickly. They have a ton of hit points and a lot of armor, and a lot of melee defense. So they stand there and suck it up and don't get killed. You can see this poor rat is getting slapped in the face with the tail of the rat ahead of him, who has tied a knife to his tail, so that can't be very pleasant. In any case, we've got two Stormvermin, and then we've got Queek. Queek is another one of those guys that you don't see very much, if at all. Sometimes in the Dwarf matchup. In the Dwarf matchup, I really like him, but honestly, I'm starting to like him more and more, because, especially after the patch, Queek has disappeared. Queek has a bonkers bonus for his infantry. His bonus for his infantry is 35. His melee attack versus infantry is therefore 98. He hits infantry when he fights them. And, more importantly, he has Verminous Valor, which lets him explode enemy infantry and run past them. And he has Trophy Heads, which lets him debuff enemy heroes and lords. He's an assassin masquerading as a lord, and I love it. It is fantastic. Plus, he has the basic character missile resistance and 110 armor, so he's actually very hard to shoot. And of course he encourages, and he has Scurry Away, so if he starts getting bursted down, his speed pops up to about 45, and he can run. Plus, you can take the Warp Shard armor, he debuffs everybody's armor around him. It's pretty fantastic. He's just really solid at killing things. Now, he's a Footlord, with all the disadvantages thereof, so that can be a limiter of him. But in any case, in a front line like this, I think he's very solid. So, front line. I've got a couple of Clan Rat Spears and Clan Rats on either side. I've got one Assassin with the Rivalhide Talisman. I've got one Warlock Engineer, or Immortus Engineer, as I like to refer to these cheap guys. Warp Shard Armor, Warp Lightning, and Death Frenzy. Actually, a very solid buff. It got buffed in the patch to have a longer period. Come on. I don't know why it won't lock onto these guys sometimes. But, as you can see here, Death Frenzy, plus 26 melee attack. It used to be only, I think, 16 seconds or something. It got buffed to 28 seconds, and now it's pretty solid. Plus 26 melee attack, plus 25% weapon damage, and immune to psychology. And if you ever cast it, it's an AoE. So very, very solid. Couple of Skaven Slave Spears up in the front line, just to die. 3 Night Runners with slings. These guys are murder on Minotaurs. They kill Minotaurs so quickly, and Chaos Spawn. And 2 Rat Ogres behind them. Over on the flank, 2 Gutter Runners with poison, who you can see are already engaging some Centaurs with throwing axes. Let's go into slow-mo here. My opponent's army, he's got Gore Herds up front. I like that little bend in the line. Minotaurs with great weapons, standard Minotaurs, 2 Besta Gore Herd, 1 Gorbull with most of his stuff but not the special items. Morgur the Shadowgave. Morgur the Shadowgave is another great reason to bring those Night Runners, because I think you'll see him a lot against Skaven. He regenerates, he's pretty tough, he has a lot of HP, and he spawns Chaos Spawn, and Chaos Spawn are really good at killing rats. So, but Morgur has low armor, and he's, if you bring Queek can really, really hunt Morgur. He's almost impossible to kill with missiles. 75% missile resist, 25% magic resist, but he is not hard to kill in melee, especially if not for Queek. And then over here, of course, you've got these Centaurs with throwing axes who are currently being shanked by Gutter Runners with poison. So, let's go to full speed. Oh, and you have a Bray Shaman of the Wild on a Chariot, so he's going to be summoning a Cygor or 2 to attack us. You can see we're getting real good shuriken fire into these Centaurs with throwing axes. We've killed off 6 models. We've taken quite a bit of damage on this unit in order to do it, so I'm pulling out of that fight because I don't really want to stay there especially not with the Minotaurs rushing up to help. Over here, melee lines are colliding, Skaven Slave Spears getting absolutely butchered, doing a little bit of damage in return, and that's pretty much all we can ask for. But here, the Minotaurs with great weapons charge in, they're attacking the Clan Rats with shields and the Warlock Engineer. They're getting the Mortis Engine effect, and more importantly, they're getting the Slinger Fire. These Slingers are melting the Minotaurs. They are going down so quickly. Look at that, 1,000 damage in one volley. Fantastic. Over here, these Minotaurs have caught my Gutter Runners with poison. They're getting slowed and poisoned, but they are chewing me up. They're taking some damage from the Gutter Runners, though. That, once again, ranged fire from the Skaven is very effective against Minotaurs. Up here, 2 spears engaging a Gore Herd and losing dramatically. My Rat Ogres were charged in. Now they're pulling out as the first Chaos Spawn goes down. We've got some Warp Lightning dropping on the best Gore Herd, and Queek. Look at this. This is why I love Queek. Here's Queek. He's being hunted by a Gorble, and he's beating the shit out of it. He's hit the Gorble with trophy heads, so it's 0 melee defense, 15 melee attack. It's only hit him, I think, once, and he's hit it like 6 or 7 times. It's more than half dead, and now is under attack by Rat Ogres. Plus, its armor is debuffed. It's down to 82 armor, so guess what? I'm going to start throwing pebbles at it. At 82 armor, pebbles deal actually pretty respectable damage. We have shattered, or broken off at least, the Minotaurs, and our units are now sweeping in against the Gorble. And look, yep, even against that 80-some armor, the slings still deal pretty decent damage, and that was a big hit from Queek. So, over here, 1 unit of Gutter Runners still online, throwing into the Minotaurs. Looks like it's about to be shut down by the Centaurs. My other unit has run off here and will be coming back. We've got units rallying in the back line, but up here, the enemy has won this flank, broken off my cheap spears over on this side. But on this flank, my infantry has held on with the support of Queek and the Rat Ogres and the Slings. Those Slings are now going to shift target onto these Minotaurs, who still do not have shields and have much lower armor than normal because they're being attacked by, you guessed it, Queek. Meanwhile, that Mortis Engineer, 16 kills already. Doing pretty solid work. We've got the Chaos Spawn up in here, fighting, but not really accomplishing a whole lot. The Assassin got on Morgur and did a ton of damage. Hitting him with that, the debuffs really makes him vulnerable, especially when he has low armor. Queek's gonna drop his, what do you call that? Verminous Valor, there it is, to charge back in and kind of knock these Minotaurs around. The Minotaurs are broken. All the Minotaurs are gone. We've got Gore Herd back here. We're pursuing my Slingers. The Slingers pulled back, brought in some Clan Rats, and now they're firing at the backs of the Gore Herd, dropping some Warp Lightning on these Centaurs with throwing axes, who are also getting wrecked by Sling Fire. So they are taking a ton of damage. More Centaurs sweeping in, but in the center, I am having it all my own way. The Chaos Spawn are going down. Morgur is going down. My Rat Ogres are also going down, getting beaten up, but they're putting in some good work before they go down. And the Stormvermin are just holding like heroes, holding like champions. That unit of Stormvermin admittedly has broken, but they held on long enough. Rat Ogres are pulling out to charge into the backs of those guys. Got some more throwing axes coming into the slings, but up here, the enemy center pocket is actually collapsing. The Stormvermin are holding on. Queek and the Warlock Engineer are here just tearing down the hit points of these Bestigors, and Morgur is getting murdered by that Assassin, just getting absolutely shanked. More Warp Lightning coming in, up to 38 kills on the Warlock Engineer. Make that 39. 40, there we go. Morgur is now about to rout, with only 500 hit points left. The Assassin, I think, is going to hit him again. He's broken and going to run away, and Queek and the Assassin are, I think, going to pursue him. So the whole center pocket breaks, and at that point, my opponent admits defeat. I can't really blame him. There wasn't a whole lot left. He's got these Centaurs out here, but those Centaurs can easily be murdered by slings. He did summon a Cygor, and the Cygor was throwing rocks, but it didn't have fantastic targets. It wasn't scoring a whole lot of hits. I think it was the one that drove off my Stormvermin, but then they rallied. So really, we just outfought him in the melee pocket in the center. And those slingers really paid their dues. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Skaven is entirely a game of knowing what to take to counter what you expect to see. Against Beastmen, I really expect to see Centaurs. I really expect to see Minotaurs. I know that the infantry line is going to be of better quality than mine, but I can take infantry that will hold for a long time, these Stormvermin. And I can take the tools that can absolutely murder Minotaurs and Centaurs. Gutter Runners and Night Runner Slingers. Night Runner Slingers are by far the most effective of the Skaven dedicated ranged units. In terms of efficiency even, they're better than Skaven Slaves, or at least as good and take up a smaller footprint, so they're more easily maneuverable. And they can absolutely put Centaurs just in the garbage. They really can. It's surprising. Gutter Runners with Poison, great utility. All of these units, fantastic damage onto Minotaurs, great damage onto Goreherd if they can get behind them, excellent damage onto Centaurs. Those Centaurs and Minotaurs are the scary parts of the roster. They really are. The Goreherds, yeah, they get a lot of kills. They sure do. I mean, each of these Centaur units basically killed a unit or more of my cheap rats by themselves. But you saw what happened. In the end, the Goreherds were whittled down and mostly breaking, or pulled off on a wild goose chase that wasn't accomplishing anything. And what was left was Stormvermin, who Goreherd cannot kill very easily, and my heroes. And Skaven heroes are actually really, really scary. They're really, really good. Warlock Engineers, fantastic for the price. Assassins, fantastic for the price. Queek Headtaker, a solid powerhouse for the price. Slow, I mean, he's a Footlord, what do you want? And of course, the Rat Ogres were also putting in their dues, doing some good work. One of them got really badly beaten up by the Chaos Spawn and such, but the other one was actually pretty good health and got some decent kills. So in any case, thank you all so much for watching. This was a fun one, and you can see this is more of the melee rush style of Skaven that I also showed off last time. My next time when I upload a Skaven match, I think I'm going to try to show off more of that kind of more traditional defensive artillery-based build. Maybe I'll take the Grey Seer out for another spin. I love that Screaming Bell. It really does good work. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like on it, let YouTube know. If you didn't, of course, feel free to leave a dislike. Let YouTube know that as well. And of course, I do take those things into consideration when I'm looking at what else to post up. And I will see you all in the next video. Should be more Warhammer 2 coming along, because I'm really having fun with it. And of course, I'm getting more into the tournament scene. And so I'm practicing a little bit more, try to hone my skills such as they are. So, will be more of this coming. Of course, all the Dominion stuff will be staying, and we'll be starting a new game or two as well coming up pretty soon. Should be very, very interesting. So, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.